Hey guys. Okay. You may be wondering why I'm in my car right now where it's super dark and it looks like I'm in a horror movie. Well, we kind of are in a horror movie because I have Sheriff Ashley Smentek actually bringing a Malinois puppy that we got for Sean to the house in like 10 minutes. So I'm trying to figure out, like, I told him I had to go to the car to feed the baby, even though I don't need to, because, I thought he was here, because, I wanted to move the car so Ashley could get through. So it's all kind of weird. I've been telling him, I told him we had a phone consult and then I canceled it. It's just been like this whole ruse, and it's really hard to kind of pull this stuff off, and all the girls are trying to help me by just being quiet and not giving anything away. So, wish me luck. Okay. Say hi to the people. It's not live, but...
Good, you got a baby.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I got MJ too.
You're right, MJ?
Yeah, so we can see what the end result is.
Oh my god, this is on... Which one? Is she on the left?
Yeah, she's the
Oh
little
my
room.
god, she's soft. I'm freaking out.
They smell a little bit like poo right now.
Yeah, they definitely do.
They got a little poo smell though. So, one of the things that...
Turn
that
towards the left.
Oh, gotcha. So one of the hallmarks of us dropping off Malinois puppies at home is they have to be a complete surprise. And it works so much better. So you've seen our patented method of dropping puppies. And so Sean is going to be a part of that tonight and understand.
Oh, he's watching a video. Awesome. Hey guys.
Hey! Hey, buddy. No. Hey, Maru. Nothing. Uh-oh. How are you, sir?
Good, bro.
Is it puppy kisses time?
It is puppy kisses time. Because...
Oh no. Really?
So I was just telling her outside, there's a patented method for getting people to accept the fact that they have a new puppy in life. And it's really simply...
Screeching tires and...
No, here's your treat your puppy. Like, you have no idea. You can actually see several times in my life that I've done this at home to really good effect. I mean, it's worked beautifully on our end. So this is something that Miss Laura Morgan and I cooked up together for you.
Yes.
After you lost Junior.
Yeah.
You know that that's been a big hole in your life.
Yeah.
And we feel that you're ready for this chapter in your life.
But am I?
But we have a plan B if you don't want the chapter to continue.
If the chapter gets
Yes.
unruly and...
I feel terribly unprepared this episode.
Don't move too much. You'll make it look like I framed you wrong.
I just reset myself exactly where you put me.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Just don't move. Hey guys.
Hi.
So we have the baby sleeping. So we're gonna get started.
Well, let's roll.
Let's roll.
Okay. So did you want to start with your public service announcement just to start this with a bang?
Oh yeah, okay. All right, guys. In last week's
I love this.
episode,
We'll just have a cookie whilst you bare your soul.
I feel no shame or pain.
Oh, okay.
It's just a public service announcement. It's good for everyone to know. So on last week's episode, I said something about a click thingy and a treat bag. Now, let's be clear, people. I don't know how to use a clicker. I mean, at all. I see them. I'm amazed when I see people use them correctly.
Are you amazed?
I am.
You're sure you're not being sarcastic?
No, I'm really not being sarcastic.
Okay.
When you watch the trainers like train whales and stuff with clickers, you're like, that's amazing. It really is. And I get the whole concept. All I was saying last week's episode was a click thingy, meaning a clicker, and a treat bag. They're not going to get you very far with a dog reactive or dog aggressive pittie or whatever we were talking about. So that was all I was saying. There's nothing
trashing?
nothing against clickers. And in fact, with the puppy, which we'll talk about as well, with a puppy, you do clicker training, and you have to with clicker and food, and it's amazing to watch them work as well.
Or verbal markers.
Yeah.
I mean, a clicker's just a marker. So you can use a verbal marker, you can use a clicker. I prefer to use verbal markers because I always have it with me. And I'm just not a big fan of the extra hand being, you know, with the clicker thing.
I just think it's a neutral tool. It's a nice thing, whatever it is.
A lot of people love them.
And like people do them. I don't know how to use one, so like.
But you know how to do how to do markers.
Yeah, but
and it's the same concept.
It sucks when someone downplays something that they don't know how to use.
Yeah, it's shitty.
Yeah.
I just had that opportunity. So, anyways.
Nothing against clickers.
Nothing against clickers. We use markers in all of our training. We may not use markers to the same extent of some businesses. If you're doing like what Ashley was doing, you know, as far as like with
Shaping
protection work, you know, like if you're doing heavy duty stuff, you're like, you know, if you're doing trying to do tricks, or you're trying to do heavy duty like really precise behavior, then luring dogs into position and capturing behavior and all of this stuff using a clicker and using food is really helpful for that kind of stuff. What I like to say is that positive reinforcement, clicker training, things like that are really powerful for teaching dogs what you want. And this kind of speaks to what you were just saying, but just said more eloquently. But just teasing. But they're not great for teaching dogs what you don't want.
Right.
They're not great for teaching dogs no. Now there are people that will watch this and their heads will burst into flames and they'll be like, that's a bunch of BS and I can teach a dog to blah 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 blah. But the reality is I haven't seen it. The reality is
the amount of people that we see coming through the door that have tried to do clicker training or positive
to
reinforcement
stop behavior issues.
High.
Yeah, we haven't seen it. So I know that there's people out there, there's probably a line out the door already who've gotten wind of this episode and there were torches ready to burn this place down.
We never see the torches.
Well, it's because you pull the blinds.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But anyways, so guys, real quick, if you watch any of our videos, you're going to hear us using markers. Let's make this really clear. A clicker is a marker. It tells the dog that it's completed an activity that you like them doing, right? The dog sits, click, and then that's a bridge that tells the dog you did the right thing and a reward is on its way. You can do the same thing with verbal markers. Yes, good. You can use a combination of yes and good. You could use Shazam. You could use take out the trash. You could use a million different things. So let's keep it simple. Markers are awesome. We use them all the time, but we don't use clickers. And we sure as heck don't use treat bags. No. We have a certain aesthetic that we hold ourselves to that I think we would all rather be inconvenienced with dog food in our back pocket than what it means to our ego and psyche to have to carry a treat bag. Now, I know that puts us at tremendous odds with a lot of the dog training community, but you know what?
I love how this PSA turned into your PSA.
But you know what? Come and get us. Come and get us. Come and get us. I think what you said was innocent. I don't think you meant any harm by it, and I think you're having a little fun, and I think everybody that I saw comment on it, they were having fun too. Mm-hmm. So I think everybody gets who you are.
Just don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, I got some messages of some, like, lots of tears and stuff. Yeah, a lot of trainers that are, like, retiring, and they're like, well, Flora says this is bunk, you know. Anyways.
A dumb chick.
I'm headed to Nola. When am I leaving? On the 18th?
Yeah.
Yep. 10 days. Woo, look at me, look at me. Maybe some king cakes, maybe some sucre, maybe some, I almost said black beans and rice. No, it's red beans and rice. All sorts of fun stuff. What I have
up here, getting spit up on and working on the book.
Well, if I end up on Bourbon Street, I could be doing the same. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get a bib.
You should.
Yeah,
A Bourbon Street bib.
Yeah, keep the clothes clean. So really excited to go back. Haven't been there in a while. And then what do we have, Laura Morgan? As far as like, we got some board and trains coming in for me.
Oh yeah, you have a couple board and trains. Cambry has some board and trains you're going to be helping and working on as well.
Kind of transferring them out.
Yeah, and so you guys are going to be working together a little bit, and yeah, it's just going to be just rocking and rolling, and then everyone back here is going to be doing their thing, and hopefully by then the book will be at the printer, and the book will be being
Which
printed.
book is this? Tell me more.
Exactly. The book that there's the saying that for moms with newborns, I would assume only when they're having their first newborn, because I assume if you have a second kid to take care of while you have a newborn, you can't do this. But it's basically when the baby sleeps, you sleep. That's kind of the thing, like when baby sleeps, jump and grab a nap because you won't get one later.
Right.
But I've kind of shifted it to when the baby sleeps,
You
book.
work?
Yeah. No, you book.
You're a butt kicker. You really are.
No, many women out there do that. Many moms do that, and I also do sleep when the baby sleeps. Trust me.
But you're squeezing in a lot of work. We're really like we showed you guys a bunch of
sneak preview.
Yeah, sneak preview.
Yeah.
Bunch of pages of how it looks. Everybody
Yeah.
was like, "Holy crap, that's not what we expected." So that means good things.
That's
because
really good things.
when we deliver DVDs or this book, our whole goal is to like way beyond expectations of like, oh, it's going to be a dog training DVD that you can like put on right before you want to go to bed. So it like puts you to sleep. That's not our goal. Our goal is that it's fun, it's exciting, looks cool, easy to follow, and very helpful.
Yeah.
And the same thing's gone on with the book. You've knocked out of the park the whole formatting. I know you were worried about it, but you did a kick-ass job.
Looks cool.
I'm really going through and making sure that all of the content is at the highest level, so I feel really solid about it. It's a buttload of work, but getting there, and to be honest, I'm finally getting into that space. Like, it's weird, the DVD was exciting. There's something about the psychology of like releasing a book.
It's different.
It's got a thing.
Because you're published author then. When you have a DVD, you're kind of like, well,
I put out a product.
put out a product, yeah, but there's something about the book.
There is, right?
Sorry, it's stuck to your head. It's sticking straight out.
What
I
is it?
pull it?
Pull
It's
it.
a hair.
Everybody,
That was sticking straight out of your head like this.
sorry guys.
It's just a straight hair.
Can we cut that out maybe? Is it gray?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. Well, as long as it's not gray.
No,
but
it's
it's just
just
a wayward.
I was just staring at you.
What's the word? Errant?
An errant? No, wayward hair is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, wayward or errant, I didn't like. Oh, it hurt a little bit.
That's why I
That one
asked.
was deep. Whew.
That's why I asked.
Okay, so anyways, lots of great stuff going on. We got the new Q&A format, guys, and we actually managed to get some questions this week that are like starting to move into that
Got to
format,
the-
right?
yeah, cool.
So once again, guys, just to be crystal clear, yes, I understand the majority is going to be dog stuff. So dog training questions, tools, methodology, all that, but also entrepreneurship, business building, how to create your own business, how to launch your career.
Yep.
And then personal development, life issues, blocks, challenges, hurdles, things like that we might be able to help you guys get over. If we do say so ourselves, we've got a pretty diversified little skill set.
Yeah.
And we're pretty handy with dogs, pretty handy with business, and pretty handy with actually like some of this life stuff. So we'd love to hear from you guys with that
Absolutely.
stuff.
Anything else?
Yeah. And I think that about captures or covers all of the stuff that we need to cover.
Awesome.
So you ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Anything else you want to say? Any other apologies for your behavior last week?
Well, do we want to break the news about the puppy?
Oh, here's where it's like, here's where the torches really come out. You better lock that door.
No.
Go ahead.
People understand.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. You go ahead.
That's a terrible tone you just took. A
Should I cut in her
A tone
eyes?
that has a certain amount of relish to it.
Should I cut in her eyes? I was sending Sean texts of various close-ups.
Guys, we all know that Belgian Malinois, especially from working lines, are serious customers, correct? Do we also know that 7-week-old Belgian Malinois from serious bloodlines are even more work, right?
But it gets better.
It gets better, you mean like over time?
Yeah, as they grow up, they get easier.
Right before they pass away, you're like, God, she's so relaxed. And the reality is that she's about the cutest dog I've ever seen. She's so freaking adorable. She really is. I mean, like, she's a heart melter. I mean, every time I'm like, I'm gonna strangle you, I'm like, God, you're cute. But she's already destroyed my expensive comforter. She's destroyed the replacement comforter. She's peed on the bed. She's pooped on the floor. She's peed on the mat. She's peed. She is really like
Forrest.
Yeah, but someday he'll grow up to like drive a car and like probably finance your lifestyle and things like that. I don't think this is gonna happen for me. Anyways, so it was a wonderful, beautiful, spectacular, amazingly thoughtful gift from Ashley and Laura. To be honest, like to be really frank with everybody, like I love the work that we do. We do a very specific thing, a very specific skill set, primarily with behavior mod. We don't really do puppies. And I'm not, and this might come as a shock and maybe like we're gonna lose all our viewership, but I'm not the dog training aficionado nerd guy. I don't mean that disparagingly, I just mean like so wrapped up in it that wants to go out and do like bite work and like spend all day playing tug and stuff like that with the dog. It's just not where I'm at. It's not lifestyle wise, it doesn't fit with me. I spend a ton of time in quiet mode, studying, working, writing, building stuff, and then other parts of my life that are really important. And like, to be honest, this girl is so amazing and she's got such great bloodlines and so much potential that the last thing I want to do is like rob her of like this great, awesome life. You know what I mean? Like, if she goes to the right person, she's gonna live like the most great Malinois life, right? She lives with me. We try and find our way through it, but what's going to end up happening to fit in with my lifestyle, and this is like real talk, guys, for any of you guys that are looking at like dogs with like, don't you try and like get any bad pictures to make me feel bad, but this is real talk for any of you guys that are looking at like high energy dogs, being really, really honest with yourself about your lifestyle and about your needs and about the dog's needs. And for me, as cute as she is, I just know that most of the time that we'd spend together would be about suppressing a lot of her great stuff so we could live together comfortably, rather than like boom, embracing it and expanding it, which is what Ashley and other people that do that kind of work, you know, that want to do schutzen and bite work and IPO or whatever it is, that's what they want. And it's just not my world. And I'm happy to go wrangle a dangerous dog that wants to like take my face off. I like that challenge and problem solving, but I'm not the guy that goes out and does the bite work stuff. So I have to come clean with everybody. And as much as I was like, I'd look at her and I could be like, I could see us in a couple of years and we could probably have some major adventures, but I just don't think I can do right by her. I really don't. And then I think also the last thing I want to be in a space wise with a dog is resentful. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know when you were with Polar Bear, a lot of things were hard for you because of the pressure you felt to like fulfill his needs constantly, kept you on the space of like, I've got to, which is like, detracts from your quality of life. So I know that you totally get that as well. And Cujo is kind of like a nice in between that.
He's also 9 years old.
Right. And but like Ashley is like, yeah, so for the first 5 months, we want to just like encourage all the stuff. If she bites or this or that, you know, you can start to like dissuade like the strong bites, but like that's not how I'm wired. I don't live with dogs like that. You guys have seen my dogs and all that stuff. Anyways, well, but it's an important thing. And so basically we're going to we have plan B in place.
Plan B is in place and it's already happening.
And so where's she headed right now?
She'll go back to Ashley and then we'll find her a home.
Okay, she's not going out to the country?
we'll just the less you know, the better.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we've got the reverse. So let's lay it out before I get into trouble.
Just do 2 ones.
2
That's
ones.
all you got to do.
Perfect. You ready?
Fairly easy. Yep.
Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog. Sorry, Forrest. And all the stuff you can't see is The Good Dog's Q&A Saturday, especially that sleepy little child over there who's making some small little monkey noises.
Little noises.
Let's hope they just kind of stay right there. I think that's the whole intro, right? Is there anything else I'm missing? Oh, yeah, there is. Like I'm really like out of sorts here. And this to my left, right? We're left?
Yes.
Is the lovely Laura Morgan. Also, hater of treat pouches and clickers, but she's working on it. And all the stuff, like I said, that you can't see is The Good Dog's Q&A Saturday, episode number 118. Look,
You're doing so well.
it's just prep. As long as I prep.
You're awesome.
As long as I prep.
So-
a lot of sarcasm. A lot of sarcasm
I'm
and
serious.
derogatory tone there.
I'm serious that you're doing so well. It's awesome.
Anyways, let's move on and read some questions. See what we can get into.
So we have question number 1 comes from Raquel. Raquel says, our male collie, who's about 5 to 6 years old, was teased by his previous owners. He had rubber bands pinned towards his face, chased with brooms, vacuums, or
Jeez
mops.
Louise.
The list of torment is endless. He is now a pain in the rear end, and every time you get the vacuum out, he snaps at it and runs. He'll snap at the kids when they play. When let out in the yard to potty, he runs like a lunatic to the trampoline, if it's being bounced on or not, and runs around and around it, biting up clumps of grass and shaking them while barking. I tried the e-collar when he gets a stim. He stoops and then goes right back to it. Okay.
And stoops or stops?
Stoops, but it says stoops, but probably
stops.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking like it's so like I'm
But-
sorry. Yeah. Well, what am I missing? We had a GSD who used to tell him off when he got crazy, and he learned for the other dog, but now that dog's gone, and I seem to be missing it. Good question.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts. Well, you want me to jump in?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Raquel, I mean, this is, first of all, we should probably lose the backstory. Not that it didn't happen. It sounds to me like you kind of have. You're not like really buying into all that
she
stuff.
seems like she's having fun with it.
Yeah,
Not
but
fun, but
yeah,
light
just
with
like
it.
it's done. So just make sure if maybe there wasn't anything represented in there. If you are nervous about like, oh, he had a bad, experience with the vacuums and bad, we kind of have to move on from that to have his best interest in mind. So
Yeah.
don't worry about all that stuff. We're just going to move forward from here. What you guys need, and we discussed this a little bit before, is more than just correcting him for the bad behavior. You need kind of more of the other side, which is more of the foundational obedience that we do with the collar. So the collar is not just going to equal like
No.
bad dog, no, it's going to be also communication. So what would be cool is get him more in a sort of a pattern with like place command inside your house. So the great thing about place command is when you're vacuuming, you can proof your dog. So he's on place. Once you've done, go to our free videos here.
Yeah.
Or you can order our DVD here that has all the e-collar training and all that stuff. Once you have the dog all accustomed to the e-collar, you could do, and I only do that because I don't want to just jump into the training part without you being like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do to train. So train him first, but then once you have his training, you can put him in place. You can vacuum around him. The way we do vacuum stuff is we start with it off and we sort of like roll it by the dog. If they start to jump at it or do anything, we correct because they broke place as well. And that's what's cool about using the obedience commands is you can actually use them to work with the bad behaviors. So if he's jumping off towards the vacuum, you're correcting for him breaking place, to start. And then you can also correct for like any sort of untoward glance or intense stare or anything like that. And then with the going in the backyard, all of the foundational stuff is going to lead him to be in a little bit less of an impulsive place and more of a respectful listening place to you. So when you let him out in the backyard, he shouldn't be like just bursting through the threshold and just running all over the place and grabbing stuff up and, whatever, doing his thing. He should be much more in like a more respectful listening place. You can do thresholds with him. He'll have the e-collar on. You can correct him, but the hope is that his whole brain is like at a lower level, so you don't have to correct as high or as often for that stuff. You know what I mean?
So I'm right with Laura on that, and that's basically the thing we see a lot of owners do is just try and excuse me. Is just try and correct issues rather than setting a foundational tone that they can leverage and have a better state of mind comprehensively, and then move from there where it's really easy to correct issues. Like Laura said, teach the dog place. All of a sudden the dog starts to learn impulse control in small little contexts. Then you bring things around that the dog's nervous about. And the dog's like, I really don't like that vacuum, but I'm actually been trained to stay in place. So I'll override that impulse to attack, leave, run, flee, whatever, and I'll just hang. I may not like it, but I'll just hang. And that's how you can use those tools to get a dog into a different gear rather than just saying no. Because if you think about it, just saying no is a fairly narrow conversation, right? No, it's just a fairly narrow conversation. But the conversation of I need you here and I need you not to move, and then no to correct that and say like this position you need to be in, that's a bigger conversation. That gives the dog a lot more information and a lot more stuff that they have to do to stay in their in the correct behavior or the correct command, something like that. So same thing goes for like the trampoline. So the trampoline is getting the dog all amped up, right? Kids bouncing on the trampoline. I can totally see that. Like, I can see how that would look. Now, if you correct just for like getting hyped up about the trampoline, you could correct. Now this is like Laura said, like once you've done the training, you could correct for just amping to bring the amping down. But then you say, recall, get your butt over here and lay down. Now there's a big difference. One just says, no, I don't like what you're doing. The other says, I don't like what you're doing, calm down, get over here, and now lay down. Now you have a ton more information for the dog, a lot more of an activity to do, and a lot more to glue him in emotionally and physically. So I think what you're missing is you're missing kind of the big picture, and you've just kind of got the easy no picture. And I don't think that that's going to give you what you want in the grand scheme of things. And I know it won't give you what you want if you've got an amped up dog. It's not going to create that kind of calm, relaxed, chilled out, impulse control rich, very respectful dog that you're looking for, that will make good choices on his own in all these different contexts. So does that kind of like kind of make sense? So I think we're both saying. I was
thinking about something and then I just totally went off of it, but I was following your thing and I had something to say, but maybe it'll come back to me.
It'll come back to you. I trust you. So, but we're both really saying the same thing, and that's why we don't like. I know trainers that just do like corrective stuff, and it's a very limited conversation, and it gives limited results because. Hold on to this, guys, because all it does is say no, and it doesn't change this. It changes this about don't do that, but it doesn't change this comprehensively. You get a dog calm comprehensively, you got a different dog to work with. And so that's why every dog that comes here, like even if they're like going after cats or going after dogs or going after cars, we don't like, let's go after cats and dogs. No, it's place command inside the house, recall to the next place, lay down when I say, don't you dare move your behind. And then you've got leverage, and then you can start taking them out in these other places. And then if you get stuff, then you can say no and move from there.
The alarm went off, but what I was going to say.
You found it.
Yes. Is just that just correcting the dog kind of, this is a weird way to put it, but kind of puts you against the dog. So it's like you against me, like I'm going to correct you, this is the sort of thing. But if you use the e-collar more as communication as well, you're kind of working with the dog. You and the dog are kind of like, okay, buddy, like, hey, you can do place command, that's cool. If you do that, you're good. But if you jump off of the vacuum, if you run into the backyard unannounced or whatever, then you're going to get corrected. There's very like clear boundaries. At this point, he's just like free for all except when I get corrected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's a great point.
Yeah.
So do you guys get that? The free for all? I know she was watching me the whole time she was talking, by the way.
I wasn't.
You were watching going, is he going to eat that whole goddamn Rice Krispie treat?
I would never say that. I wanted you
No. Did you?
Of course.
Really? But the second I set it down, you, wow.
Because I'm a big giant pig.
You are so far from that. I just thought it was funny because I know you so well, and I was like, is he really going to eat that like a big pig that he
I
is?
would hope that you would.
Anyways, so super important stuff, and this goes far beyond you and your dog. I want everybody watching this to understand why we hammer the same concepts home over and over and over again about foundation work, because that's how you get better dogs.
Yeah.
Not just a dog that doesn't do one thing, but you get a dog who lives differently. I know it sounds highfalutin. It is. We've cultivated something that really works well, and we're desperate to kind of pass that information on to you guys.
Yeah.
Way harder work, way more time invested, but way better results.
Yeah, definitely.
And with that,
We move on.
we're out.
All right, let us know how it goes, Raquel. Thanks. Like when I went to
17.
my doctor, and
Is this your tough doctor?
Yeah, the normal. Yeah, when I went to him the first time, I was already 2 months pregnant.
He's like, why aren't you in a bikini yet?
No, this was way back.
Oh, okay.
And so I'd already gained 10 pounds. So I'm about 5 pounds over where I was when I first saw him. So he'll think like, oh, you're right back. Or he won't
Yeah.
care, but he would think that, right?
He might care.
But if I had gone there like 2 months prior to that, I would have been 10 pounds less than that. So I'm about 15.
About 15? Oh, that's not bad. Like, real quick, I know it's a deviation, but like, is there an average that most women, or does it like completely like just run the
I think
gamut?
it's all over the place.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a certain dog, small, little, sweet, cute dog trainer? That,
Oh, Megan. It's always the cutest, most in shape people are like, I gained like 70 pounds and lost.
Megan Wallace.
Yeah.
Didn't
She gained she put it on her Facebook, which is why we can talk about it. She gained like 65 pounds and she like weighs 65.
She's like this tall. Yeah. She's like tiny little, she's ripped. She's like in good shape. And then
She's in great shape again, I think.
Is she?
I'm sure she's right back.
Good for her. I'm just curious. This is just like honest male curiosity.
I think you can gain anywhere. I mean, my doctor said like gain 25 pounds. I think I gained 35. My mom gained like 65. Some people gain like 80.
Wow.
You can go all over the place.
But does a lot of it have to do with your doctor and kind of their program and what they feel is appropriate?
No, I think a lot of it's just your body.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what you eat. Like, I think there's
that thing.
there's a general sort of like, oh, you can eat whatever you want when you're pregnant, but that's not. That's
You
super
didn't
not
do
healthy.
that.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I didn't crave anything like that. Some people crave a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it just depends.
Okay, cool.
But
Well, I'm learning.
Yeah. A lot of it's like you just add like extra stuff that you're like, oh, look at that.
I got extra stuff.
Wow, check it out.
Going away present. Okay, let's jump into number 2.
Okay, question number 2. This comes from Kevin. Oh, I was looking forward to this question.
Are you having a good time with the new format?
Yeah, answering different types of questions.
Yeah.
We haven't done it yet, but yeah.
Well, but we're about to get into
yeah,
it. I'm
excited.
trying to like get your excitement going.
Yeah. Okay, so Kevin says, hey yo, here's the deal. I'm graduating high school next year
Hey-o.
and I'm about 95% sure I want to be a dog trainer.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. I got my dog trained by an e-collar trainer near me, although he was part of a larger chain that's all across the country. I was thinking of maybe getting a job there, but I'm so anxious and nervous and apprehensive, maybe I should book a board and train for myself, that I don't know where to start. I checked out some dog training colleges, but most are the usual pure clicker bull honky.
I like,
and me,
I like, right? We'll be sending out a complimentary TGD treat pouch.
Treat pouch. But anyway, do you have tips for confidence during that transition from teenager to adult life? No, we don't. We don't have tips for that.
I think we're going back to our original format.
Or tips for becoming a dog trainer. Oh, that we can do. Or even dealing with rejection at a job opportunity. Oh my gosh, love it.
So a lot of stuff there.
What a great question.
Yeah, and sounds like a great guy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
wish
mean-
I was like that witty and like confident and cool.
Comfortable.
At 18.
Yeah. Jesus, me.
I can only picture it.
Yeah, I would have been like, I'm scared of my life. Does anybody have any help? Come get me.
SOS.
Come get me.
SOS.
Anyways, okay, so Kevin, he is graduating high school, or he just did?
He is.
He is. Okay. and he's thinking about being a dog trainer.
Yeah, he probably graduates in a few months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, I would hope that you're really passionate about that. I would hope that dog training is like, so you got your dog trained and it was fun and all that stuff.
That's cool.
Hopefully it's something that's kind of like more than just a hobby. If you're going to really invest in it, like really like take a look at that stuff, because it's one thing when somebody trains your dog for you and then you've got like a fabulously trained dog and you're like, dog training's fun. Well, then there's the other side of the coin, which is where you're trying to problem solve with dogs that don't want to learn or have major issues, or depending on what you want to get into. I mean, you can obviously start really small, really easy, really light, and kind of work your way up, which you should do. But just want to make sure that you're crazy about it, right?
Yeah.
So if you're crazy about it, I think you should like pursue it.
Oh yeah.
I think, I mean, there's so many people don't think of dog training as like a legitimate gig. And there's so much money and there's so much freedom to create a life that you want that reflects the life that you want through the dog training kind of world. Most people don't get it. A lot of people are still caught up in the like, you can make $30,000 or 40. Those are all just silly kind of beliefs. You can make whatever you want to make. So don't let the financial picture stifle you or stymie you. I've been wanting to say that word so bad. I just love stymie.
Just say it.
Yeah. So don't let the financial possibilities stymie you. Just basically think about, what do I want to do? What sounds great for the next 5-10 years, right? Long time. But you're going to build something. Let's think about what sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
And if that fits the bill, that's really exciting, and you're doing more than just like working with your dog, and that's a great place to start, then it's time to start looking at other options about, okay, how do I start getting my toes wet in a way that I can maybe even find out more information about how I feel about this industry, right? So
Sounds to me like, I mean, if he's following you and asking this question, my guess is that he's followed a lot of what you've talked about and kind of seen our stuff, and probably is already at that point like, I want to do this. I mean, to be 95% sure you want to do something when you're 18 is a really high percentage.
That's a high number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, like, it doesn't have to be like forever. You know, it could turn into something else, whatever you want to do. But man, what a cool place to start. Hannah.
There's really no downside.
No.
You know what I mean?
Hannah Roddy, who came to a T3.
Yeah.
She just turned 20. Like, she got out of high school and pretty much like her mom's a trainer and started working with her mom and stuff like that. So she's really like gone down that same, she's like, I'm doing this. And what it is more than anything is just like anything else, if you're building a business, whether it's dog training or basket weaving, what an awesome experience as a young
education.
person. Yeah. Even if you build a dog training business in 5 years and decide this isn't for you, you're going to be set for life.
You're walking
man.
with a ton of valuable information.
Totally.
What about our good friend from T3? What is he? Just turned 15. Nelson.
Yeah.
Is he 21?
He's probably 21 now.
Yeah. When he come to T3, how old was he?
He was under 18 because he had to get a waiver, I think, or something like that.
Like his mom had to come drop him off.
He hadn't graduated high school yet, but he had been interning with Jeff over the summer. He'd been driving basically, I think, a 2-hour commute both ways.
Talk about a driven kid with a great attitude, great mindset, and just ready to rock and roll. Yeah. Great with people, really warm, really friendly, and he's killing things. He's killing things as a 21-year-old. He's already got a thriving business.
Such a good boy.
Yeah, such a good boy. So don't think that it has to be a 10-year process to get there. It's really about your drive and tenacity and how far you push or how hard you push. A couple things I wanted to talk about real quick is, one, you got to be fantastic with dogs, right? So that goes without saying. And that means you got to get your hands on a bunch of dogs, whether it's shelter, rescue, apprenticing with somebody, doing a shadow program, going to workshops, going to seminars, things like that. It's imperative that you have great dog skills. Doesn't matter how much you love dogs or dog training. If you don't know how to do a really good job of it, you're gonna really struggle. The other part is that you got to learn the business. You got to learn how to create a functioning thriving business that's going to sustain you if you're actually going to try and live off of this.
Right.
So there's got to be cash flow coming in, there's got to be profits, there's got to be...
But let me just jump in. You're going to be graduating high school.
Am I being too heavy?
I think, yeah. I mean, he's a kid.
Yeah, but I
No,
mean,
just
like,
kidding.
I don't want him homeless.
No, of course, but I'm going to say, you probably live at home, so you're kind of in the best situation ever. You can work dogs on the side, especially this next final semester, right? You can work dogs on the weekends, you can work dogs on the side, you can take video just like we do. Show dogs doing one thing and show them doing another thing. You can start a Facebook page, you could start a website right now, Kevin's Dog Training, like, you could start it right now. You have a place to live and you have food on the table.
You don't know that though.
Possibly. This is a possibility, but my guess is that you're living at home because you're in high school. So.
Oh, that's right. I keep thinking college. You're right. You're right.
So you've got kind of like a buffer, and I don't know how supportive your parents are, but you didn't mention anything about that, which we've had questions about, the support stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe they're totally supportive, which would mean like, man, you could just bust your butt while you're able to live at home, and while you're able to have that little bit of cushion, you could bust your butt. Facebook page, Instagram, work with a bunch of dogs, go shadow people. This is what Hannah Roddy's doing. So
yeah.
I know the format what she's doing, shadowing people. You could come to T3. That would be super fun. We have Train the Trainer seminar. It's launch. It's 7 days. It's not going to make you a dog trainer, but man, is it going to, our whole
give
goal
you
is
a major foundation towards being whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So you can just you can kind of just have fun with it. And I would give yourself okay, by the end of 1 year from when I graduate, I'm going to have this much. I'm going to have worked with 5 paying clients by then. I'm going to have worked with, 40 dogs. I want to get a dog off leash trained. Give yourself goals for your first year out of what you want to get. And I would suggest, you could go, if you need money right away, you could go work part-time for someone, at anywhere where you can get your hands on dogs.
I think he said there was the possibility of working maybe with Who Trained His Dog.
Right, which he's a little nervous about, he said.
Yeah, but if he scopes it out and it feels
if
good.
you're interested in that, you could do that as a good start. You could also start a dog walking thing, like what Sean did. You could start walking dogs right away, walk dogs on prong collars, just get your hands on dogs that way. You'll meet clients, you'll meet potential clients that way too.
Yep.
But just in general, you said that you asked the question just basically what do I do about, facing rejection and stuff like that. And you just get used to it,
Solid advice. So you're going to get a lot of it. And the whole thing is that, here's the deal, real quick. You got to be awesome with dogs, you got to learn business skills, and you've got to work on your mindset. Mm-hmm. And the more you are kicking ass at all 3 of those, mm-hmm. the less you're going to be affected by the rejection that comes down the pike. Mm-hmm. The more set you're going to be, the more resilient you're going to be, the more prepared you're going to be. Yep. Most people go after dog stuff. They forget the other 2 pieces of the puzzle, and then they struggle. So you can have the best dog training skills in the world, but if you don't have your business stuff, even just foundation kind of primary stuff together, you're going to struggle. Mm-hmm. So I know it sounded like I was going heavy on you, but right now you should be studying dog stuff, and at night or in the morning reading business books and following people like Gary Vaynerchuk, mm-hmm. and following people that are doing business stuff, so you can start getting in the mode of okay, what margins do I need to be successful? What kind of insurance do I need, and how do I protect myself, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff, but that would be my recommendation, is preparation and having a ton of information, knowledge, and skills in those different compartments or those different areas are going to help with what Laura was just talking about, because you can't escape the rejection. You're going to get clients that are going to say no matter how good of a job you do, they're going to be this sucks, or we want our money back, or you didn't say what you promised, or whatever it might be.
And if it's rejection at a job opportunity, if you try to get a job at the place where you're, and they say no, hey, it's information. Okay, great. So
Who
what else?
gives a crap?
Yeah,
There's so many opportunities. Like, we didn't go anywhere. We just built our own thing. You don't have to go to a place. You don't have to have a launching pad.
Yeah.
What I would say is that if you feel that you don't have the kind of inner drive to like solve these problems on your own, because the drive is really where the magic's at. If you don't have that inner drive to solve these things on your own, then find somebody to work with so you can use that as a launching pad.
Yeah.
If you're just like, man, get out of my way because I'm going to tear a hole in this sucker, then that's a different story. Then I would suggest that you go out and you really do build this stuff on your own.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps. And honestly, like what Laura said at the top of this is so important. Like, there's no way to lose. If I was 18 and I had gone into like business for myself and I'd learned the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the pros and cons, like the good dog would have taken off like way faster because I would have had these skills.
Totally.
So
Just drive Uber while you figure it out. Have so much fun and let us know how it goes. We'd love to meet you one day.
yeah, life's this short, might as well have a blast with it.
Yeah, do it. All right, thanks, Kevin. Número tres. Question
Okay.
number 3 comes from Allie. It's kind of a long question.
You're gonna have to like kind of
So
through that.
Allie says, my 3-year-old pit mix, Wesley, is having some seemingly very breed-specific reactivity to other dogs. I've had him for a year, and she didn't see it at first. He plays well with dogs that are his size or smaller. What's wrong with me? He generally has a great time playing with any dog with a short or flat coat, but is reactive to large, fluffier, working dog type breeds, even when seemingly unprovoked, like Huskies, GSDs, Border Collies, Collies, and Aussies. What's the through line with those little bratties? So send him to a 2-week board and train. The trainer said his training did really well. That was encouraging, but when he came back, he was back to his old ways.
Yeah.
He's much more obedient because she uses the e-collar. So in last week's Q&A, you discussed that dogs who don't get along with other dogs shouldn't be forced to make dog friends, which makes sense to me. My challenge is he loves playing with dogs, right?
Certain dogs.
Yeah, so now she can reliably call him away from dogs because of his recall on e-collar.
Cool.
But she's mainly just questioning, is he have like dog racism? Like he only doesn't like certain dogs?
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't exposed to those types of dogs.
Or maybe he had a negative experience at some point.
Sure. And what does it mean that he was not able to get past this in the care of our trainer? He was able to get past it in the care of the trainer, but not us. She's guessing it's just a lack of foundational thing. And then she's just saying, should we continue to facilitate him meeting new dogs? You know, does there come a point where I should just be resigned that he's going to be freaked out by big fluffy guys?
Man, we're just such not big fans of dog parks. I know there's talk in that, I don't know if you read through it or not, but like they're talking about having the dog on a muzzle at a dog park.
Right.
It's just like I'm so not into dog parks. I'm not into daycare. Sorry for anybody who loves them or owns them. I would much rather that you just get your dog into an awesome space, pick a few friends that have dogs that you guys can have play dates with, and those are the dogs that your dog hangs out with. The dog park is the Wild West. You never know what's coming through the door, and you never know what's going to provoke your dog. It's such a crapshoot.
And you don't sometimes dogs are doing normal corrections on dogs, just like, hey, get away from me, and they look like the bad guy, and everyone will gang up on your dog
and freak out and scream, and then it turns into something.
Exactly, and then you get the wrong information, and your dog's freaked out because they're like, hey, I was just correcting him like a normal dog, and it's this whole thing. So.
I'm such a bit, and this is some of the stuff's in the book, but like I'm just such a big proponent of not forcing dogs to be like they gotta be social in order to be happy, right? If they've got a great situation at home, if they've got a great family life and they've got structure and rules and leadership and a family that loves them and plays with them and does stuff with them, man, they're great. Yeah. They're great. And maybe a couple of friends frosting on top, awesome. But this dog park thing, you're seeing trouble from it. You're, like what we see over and over and over again are dogs that go to the dog park, like your dog, have certain dogs they're cool with, certain dogs they're not cool with, and what ends up happening is continuous bad experiences, right? Some are good, but then continuous bad experiences. All you need is one or two, like every couple of weeks, and your dog keeps thinking, those sons of bitches, I'm going to clean their clocks. Sorry about the language, but I'm going to clean their clocks because it's, you know, I've had a bad experience with a collie or a husky or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Just like, don't put your dog in that situation and don't feel like that's the bar for success. Don't feel like if you can't do that, your dog is not successful or not well trained or anything like that. I would never, like, my guys are great. I would never take them to a dog park. Like, Laura goes to the park, not a dog park, but she's got well trained dogs and she still avoids dogs that she
far
does.
away from dogs. Yeah.
Why? Because we don't know what the hell's cooking with those other dogs. So your dog might be in a great space, and then all of a sudden this other dog that comes up that looks all cute and fluffy comes up with a ton of attitude, and then all of a sudden you're off to the races. I think it's a bad setup. So along with, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and your trainer, what probably just to answer that question real quick, your trainer had him in the yard, and your trainer's a trainer, so your trainer's out there like watching all the dogs, supervising, making sure inappropriate stuff isn't going down. If he sees a look from your dog that he doesn't like, he's probably correcting it.
Exactly.
If he sees another dog approaching your dog too hard, he's going to correct that. So of course your dog's going to feel totally taken care of. I think
That's a great point.
The thing that you guys, that people don't understand with dog parks or letting their dogs out, yeah, their dogs are really happy playing with dogs because sure, they like dogs, but it's kind of like there's going to be a nervous energy going on with your dog the whole time. And if you can liken it to like any situation where there's people around that you feel uncomfortable with, just because you like people, but sometimes if you're uncomfortable with a certain type of people, it doesn't mean you don't like people, but he's going to be like, just in that same way, he might like dogs, but there's certain dogs he doesn't like, and he's going to feel really unsafe around you because of you being there to facilitate putting him in that situation.
Yep. And so building off that point, which is a really great point, which is that your dog trainer most likely didn't have 50 dogs at a dog park that were like
all crazy and free for all.
I'm sure he had a certain number of dogs that he had great context and understanding with about their behavior and knew exactly which ones might be pushy, which ones might need to be like watched and this and that, and which is great stuff. And then you put your dog out there and your dog does well because, like Laura said, your dog's being advocated for, your dog is not being bullied, your dog's not allowed to bully, and any snotty, crappy behavior from anybody gets addressed if the trainer's doing a good job.
Right.
So you can't let that be like a brain scrambler. Like, he does great around these same exact dogs, but let me tell you, it's not the same context.
Yeah.
They're the same dogs in the suits that they're wearing, but it's not the same context or environment or situation or setup that you would be at a dog park. I hope you get that, because that's like the whole rub. That's why, like, it's kind of like, I don't want to say sleight of hand because I don't mean it like the dog trainer is not being honest, but what I mean is that in the owner's mind, it appears like sleight of hand. Like, look at my dog doing well with these dogs that it usually attacks, but there's something going on there. There's a contextual change. There's a whole vibe change versus a dog park.
And we do that stuff. We show that as well on videos, like, hey, look at this dog. But we also, when the owner shows up, we let them know exactly how to recreate that. Basically, don't go to dog parks because you can't recreate it. And if you're going to have your dog around dogs, you need to be supervising the situation like we do. So that's information that should have been passed to you. Not that it was your trainer's fault, but just that you're like, hey, but he can actually do it. So why isn't he doing it now in my presence? That's got to be kind of hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah. So hold on to the different context of what you've seen with your trainer and what you're seeing at the dog park.
Yeah.
Totally different worlds.
Totally.
Don't let it baffle you. Don't let it confuse you. Don't let it, like there's something wrong with us. But the only other thing I'd add to that, along with the dog park part of this, is that your trainer, I guarantee you, had a different relationship with your dog than you do. So your dog is probably inhibiting some of his choices in that trainer's presence that maybe are not being inhibited in your presence because you don't have the same relationship. You might be using the e-collar, you might be saying, I need you over here, but there's a very big difference between like profound, impactful conversations where you really build respect and a dog's like, I gotcha, aye, and a dog that's like, yeah, I'll give you, like, I'll come when you call me, but I'm like, attitude-wise, not really in the groove. So that's another piece of the puzzle. So don't have like a perfect answer for you, except like, I think we'd both say, don't go to the dog
Don't
park.
go to the dog park. Don't worry about it. The dogs he has issues with versus not. My guess is it's probably just, there could be some attitude stuff like I was joking about. All those breeds you suggested are all like pretty, a lot of the breeds that we get in to the good dog mainly because they're strong-willed. They've got tough kind of attitude stuff. They can be stubborn. They're also like more dominant dogs, if you will.
And they can be like, a lot of those guys can be really like snappy in their responses.
Pushy.
They're not. Like, they're not. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not as.
Happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, but it's more about they're not as accommodating.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
So a little
They're sharper
nudge.
dogs.
That's exactly it. So a nudge gets boom this rather than a nudge and a like, hey,
like
what's going on?
Yeah, just like a silly like, oh, you know. Yeah. So let's just knock that dog park off. I know it sucks, but just get him a couple dog friends that he does well with that you can actually survey the scene and have that be your little fun.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Another
See ya.
dog park bites the dust.
Question number 4. Kelly. Kelly says, hey, Sean and Laura, my dog just completed a 3-week board and train with solid canine training
Solid who?
to help with some of his anxiety and fear issues. I hope it's okay I'm asking you guys rather than Jeff because I feel I need a bit longer answer than he gives in his Q&A. And we're a little bit more...
It's a little smarter.
A little more thorough, a little bit more on point.
Yeah, I'd say on point. Yeah.
Talented, skilled. All right.
Gifted, some would say.
Prior to his board and train, I was able to fully off-leash train him and get him in a much better place emotionally by using both Jeff and your videos. Probably more our videos.
Probably more from ours, yeah.
Okay. However, unfortunately, during his session, he really wasn't able to make any good strides as far as his fear and anxiety levels with certain stressors and continues to be quite fearful. I understand he may never be the calm, cool, and collected dog, but does this mean I will always have to be concerned that one day his fear could manifest as aggression? He's sweet, soft type of dog, and his go-to is avoidance and never became aggressive, but as John put it, he has a very small cup and fills it exceptionally quick, and it takes him a long time to recover after he's around.
Nicely said, John.
Yeah, hey.
John pulling out the, is that an I can't say it, an analogy?
An analogy, yeah. So it takes him a long time to recover after he's around certain stressors. Anyway, thanks for all your help. You've helped my dog come so far with his issues.
Yay.
And if this is not appropriate, please let me know. It's totally appropriate.
It's not, it is appropriate, sorry.
Of course it's appropriate. We're one and the same, really.
Right.
Solid canine and us.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, according to certain videos, we're the same guy.
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys are one and the same. All right.
Anyways,
Hit it.
so, so, first of all, insecurity, fear, nervous, that stuff, always the hardest stuff.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, a dog that wants to bite your face off is I know it's kind of a cliche, but it's way easier to deal with than these guys that come in that are
soft.
really fearful,
Yeah.
insecure messes. So kind of prep yourself for that being part of your journey, that like, okay, this is what we've got, and it's probably going to be an ongoing, could be a nice arc of slow progress, but it's going to be slow progress. You're not going to typically see a fearful, insecure dog just turn around straight away. So this is the hardest stuff to sort out. Like, that's what my note says, and it's really like the truth. What else was I going to say about it? Let's see, she was saying that, that's what I wanted to get into. So, have you seen any aggression issues? So, you said you're concerned about this kind of like constant loading of fear and anxiety stuff and then leading to aggression issues. Have you seen that? Have you ever seen that become the next step for your dog? Or have you just seen your dog be nervous and insecure? Now, if you've seen your dog like corner people or like get into a real bark growling fest with people coming in the door, that's a different story, and then I might be more concerned. But if your dog is just insecure and fearful, but is always kind of retreating and in a softer place of like, oh, I don't know what to make of this, then I wouldn't be assuming that that's going to be a dog that's going to one day turn proactive on aggression issues.
My guess is he probably has, right?
Probably has what?
Probably has manifested
She doesn't say anything about it,
Yeah.
which surprised me. Like, I would think that if that was the
Oh,
case.
he's never become aggressive. Oh.
Yeah, right?
You just say his go-to is avoidance. He's never become aggressive. Oh, so you're being super preemptive, and you're
Yeah.
obviously like, yeah, you did great work even before she did the board and train.
Yeah.
So, oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I think I was kind of on target with that, which is like, I would love for you, like, when you have an insecure, fearful dog and John's telling you that the dog's cup runs over or fills up fast, it makes you feel like, well, crap, I've got a dog that's kind of like, you know, dodgy, unpredictable, things like that. It just means that your dog's going to load up quicker on stuff that makes them insecure or fearful.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean your dog's dangerous.
No.
I'm sure that John and the crew would have told you if you had a dog that was dangerous, and protocols for like keeping them safe, or keeping your dog safe from other people. So I think you're jumping the gun a bit. Unless there's information in here that we don't know about,
Yeah.
I'd say you're jumping the gun a bit, and I would love for you to just continue. Here would be my advice. If you were sitting in front of us as a client, I'd say continue on with this awesome, badass, structured, highly structured, leadership-rich program with rules and consequences and accountability, and bust your dog's behind. And even if your dog looks nervous, just keep busting behind, not in a mean way, but like accountability-wise, and help your dog build confidence like this, and then slowly put your dog in situations where you're going to get a feel for like, how does my dog do? Like, can I be out at an outdoor cafe and have my dog chill after 6 months of practice?
Yeah.
Maybe you can. Or maybe your dog's a nervous wreck and it's not healthy and your dog doesn't enjoy that interaction at all or anything like that. So my big thing is like, go with the program. It sounds like you're questioning things a little bit. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I would say like, you've just done a great program. You've checked out our stuff. You know our philosophy. You know Jeff's philosophy. Let's stick with the program. Let's dive in deep. Let's be as like as organized, detailed, and consistent as possible. And let's kind of let the aggression thing go, unless you see something that really freaks you out, right? I mean, jump in here and...
I just think, my guess is like, Kelly, that you're probably one of two things, or maybe a little bit of mixture of both. Perfectionist, which is fine. There's nothing, not a dirty word.
Our analysis part of the program.
No, really. Like, if you're concerned about, like, my guess is like your dog's probably doing pretty great. Your dog was probably great, maybe even before the board and train. You're just trying to get it to a certain place. That whole thing of like accepting your dog for who they are. You have a nervous, insecure dog that just like has a short kind of fuse before getting to like a really overwhelmed place. That might just be your dog, and maybe you can get another dog down the line that is a little bit less of that type of dog, and then you love your dog just for who your dog is. And so you may be wanting him to be like more perfect or more something just a little different, and I really don't mean that bad. I just mean you might just be like, gosh, I see all these transformations and I want my dog to totally transform, but your dog just might be your dog. You know, you meet people like that are just more insecure than the next person. Doesn't mean that anything bad about them.
You'll get through it.
Yes. So, and then the other thing I was going to say is that sounds like you, I think you're maybe really passionate about this, so maybe you should be a dog trainer. That's always the thing too. When I see people kind of like, oh, I really want to get my dog to this like perfect kind of level. I'm like, oh, you might just really enjoy dog training as a trade. So I don't know if you want to be a dog trainer, but maybe you should definitely let yourself go, let your dog off the hook a little bit. You've done great work. Solid Canine, of course, does great work, and your dog isn't being aggressive. So let's just enjoy your dog for what your dog is. Try to keep him out of those situations that are going to take him to the next level, but you know, just be easy with it all. You know?
And my last point here was just like, kind of, you know, based off of what you said, just advocate for him or her. Just make sure that if you know you've got a nervous, fearful dog, don't put it in a high pressure situation where kids are going to come corner it
Yeah.
and touch, where a dog can feel so unsafe that they actually make an aggressive move.
Yep.
So, like, let's advocate, let's be smart, but let's not be worried and freaked out.
Yeah.
Let's move through this positively. Cool, we got this program, let's kick ass with this program. Oh, kids over there, let me put my dog behind me.
Yep.
No touching, no petting. Your dog's like, wow, thanks mom for keeping me safe.
Yep.
And that's how I'd approach it.
Be homies together.
Be
We're gonna
homies.
do this together.
Yeah.
All right, let us know, Kelly. Thanks. Okay, question number 5, final question, comes from Terry.
It's
Terry's-
actually a quick bonus one, but
I saw
it'll
that.
take 2 seconds.
Okay. Terry says, hey Sean, I'm a trainer and I handle a good amount of aggression issues.
Okay.
One of the things I face are a lot are households with multiple dogs that have issues. Most of the time there's a primary offender, but quite honestly, there's usually no innocent party. How do you handle multi-dog households and aggression? If I train one dog and put home protocols in place, that helps, but it's not guaranteed to solve the problem. Every dog in the house usually needs work, but because of cost, I usually only get one. Hope that makes sense. Super makes sense.
Yeah.
Trying to be brief. So the question is, how do you handle multi-dog households that are experiencing dog fights when the family can only afford to send one dog?
This is a really great question, and I'm going to let us both answer it.
Yeah.
Because you have to take this on the phone
Right.
when somebody calls you and they're like, "We've got this going on, but here's our finances,"
Yeah.
and da 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 da. And so I want to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, do you want me to jump in?
Yep, please.
Okay, so this is really a great question, Terry. I think the thing that comes up for me, okay, so there's different kind of tiers. If you have a multi-dog household with 2 dogs that are being the aggressor, like, oh yeah, one time this one cleaned the clock, and then the other one, this one went after this one, and then 2 days later the other one went after the other one, and they're both, kind of at fault. I mean, like, in a proactive way. Those, you gotta have both dogs. And I know it's hard to make work financially. I know it is hard for some clients, but the reality is you have 2, strong dogs that are maybe really putting each other in the emergency room. So you gotta take care of it. Like, we're not gonna be able to help just working one dog and bringing the other dog in every once in a while if they're both being the aggressor.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that's probably a less common situation than the one where you've got the more aggressive, the dog that's more of the aggressor, and then the other dog that's defending themselves against that dog, maybe causing more damage, but still defending themselves.
Right. Not being proactive about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And
yeah.
a lot of times the owners won't know which one is doing it, because sometimes the one that's defending themselves puts the other one in the emergency room.
And looks worse.
and
Yeah,
looks
gets the
worse.
last word. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I like to do with those is really talk to the owner about what's going on so I can get a better picture. Sometimes, in some cases, we might have them bring both dogs in just for a sit down for like an hour. We do like a paid,
Scope
it's a
it
paid
out.
consult.
Yeah.
Where we get to scope out like which one has bigger attitude here, what's going on, what's the dynamic, what's everything feel like. But this is what I'll say. We rarely, if there's dog fights going on, and there's usually, like what you're seeing probably, there's usually one that's more of the aggressor. Once we figure out which one's the aggressor comes in for a board and train, and the other one will do a one-on-one session simultaneously with the board and train. Our one-on-ones are 5 hours, 4 sessions. It's way cheaper. They bring the dog, and Brittany works with them one-on-one so that the dog is at least versed in the e-collar. And then maybe we might spend a couple days like having that dog use some of those hour sessions and have the dog come and we'll work an hour with both dogs together.
Yeah.
But that's only once that other dog that's doing the one-on-ones has some e-collar foundation, because we don't want to just work with them.
Right, which is so we can actually have some control over
Yeah.
that dog. So if we've got fighting dogs and you get one dog into a great space and the other dog is like, hey, I remember you and you've cleaned my clock 1,000
Right.
times and I've got a grudge with you, you can't just be like, cool, we've trained the real naughty dog and the other one's still cooking with all of that
Yeah.
angst and nasty stuff. So you need to get control, and you need to be able to say, I don't like this, place, don't stare, don't posture, don't get, go lay in place. You need to create existence, all of that typical stuff that we talk about. So the cool thing about that one-on-one program, is that for a lower price point, you can get a pretty decent handle on stuff. It's not going to be a full transformation, not going to be a full rehab, reboot, but boy, like once you get a dog that'll recall in place and down and walk a certain way, boom, get some nice mindset changes, and then Mr. Tough Guy has like had the full reboot, and then like Laura said, then we have to strategize like, okay, how do we put them together? What's going to be the best way? Do we bring the other dog in? And there's been times where we brought the other dog in, wanted to see how things go, show the owners how to work with it. Sometimes we send them home, and then we give them strict protocols about how to create existence initially. But the real upshot, like just to kind of like really like get to the core of this, is that if you've got fighting dogs in a multi-dog home and the owner's only able to send one dog and both dogs are scrapping, if one dog's attacking and the rest of the dogs all scamper away and run, that's a different story. That's so rare. If you've got one dog and you've got other dogs that are like retaliating once attacked, you cannot be, I truly believe you cannot be successful in changing that dynamic in the house by just going after that one dog. I get that the owners are strapped, and I get that they're doing the best they can, and I get that you're doing the best that you can, but that takes a miracle, and that miracle is that, what I said a second ago, one bad dog and a bunch of incredibly submissive dogs that haven't built grudges up, haven't built up that proactive, I'm gonna take care of myself and protect myself, and instead they're like, okay, he looks a little better now, we'll give him some leeway. That's like that miracle, like 0.0001%. Otherwise, without working with both dogs, when we get really bad fighting dogs, they both got to be here. When it's bad news, they both got to be here. And I want both those dogs to know, like, don't you dare look at the other dog, posture, move this way, do that. I want them to know, like, we are in charge, we're kicking butt. You ask our permission for anything, to breathe, to do any of this. And that puts them into a different space where they're, rather than like, I don't like the way that dog's looking at me, and they go, instead they're like, I know I'm not supposed to do that. And then you get different behavior. And then your job is, how do I teach the owners how to get the same thing, which is hugely challenging. But without being able to get both dogs, boy, man, you're in a tough spot. So it depends if you want to do something where you're like, okay, I want to work on more like dog to dog fighting stuff, and I'll take that second dog at a discount. Like if you're in a space where you're like, I really want to hone that skill, that's a possibility you could offer. Anything else you want to close it out with?
Just close it out with just, like Sean said, most likely, I'm sure that all dogs, if it's a multi-dog household, that the other dog at least needs some basic training. Sometimes what we'll offer, especially if it's a situation where, say there's one dog that's the aggressor, the other one isn't even coming back, but is like really barky at the door, or runs around the house or something that's causing the other dog to amp up and actually attack them. We'll say just do the free videos at home. Do basic prong stuff. You say that?
Yep.
Cool.
Do their own work with you.
Do your own training at home, and the most dedicated owners will do it because they know they don't have the money, but they'll spend the 3 or 4 weeks that their bad dog is with us working on prong foundation with their other dog, so that they bring the trained dog back into a home that's at least a little bit more honed in. Yeah, a little more stable, a little more calm, a little more chilled out, a little more respectful. So hopefully you got that. And what Laura said was, you take that dog in, the bad dog, and then you say, okay, for the next 2-3 weeks, you go through these free videos, get a prong collar, e-collar if they can, but if not, get a prong collar at the very least, and start teaching that dog how to walk a certain way, thresholds, place, all of that stuff. Correct for barking. Maybe you need to get a bark collar. I've also suggested, and these are owners that are really, they're like, we really need this fixed. They'll do anything. They'll work their butts off. And you have to kind of let them know, like, look, the perfect situation to have both dogs in a board and train, but obviously it's a lot of money. So what we need you to do is really work your butt off. And a lot of them are like, sure, no problem. He barks crazy at the door, and that can be a trigger. So I'm going to get a bark collar. I'm going to get a prong collar and work on place. And, you know, they'll do all that stuff as long as they know what the end goal is, you know?
Yeah. Tough one.
Yeah.
Tough one. And
Always.
it's always a heartbreaker when people have resource limits and you know they need help,
sense.
you
Yeah,
know,
it's a
so
lot.
you can get as creative and as you can get. And the main reason, just to close this out, why we have free videos is so we can offer that opportunity when we say, like, when they say we don't have the money, then we can say at least you can do these free videos.
Totally.
So
Cool.
hope that helps.
That helps.
Okay, last one, little quick bonus. This one is from
question.
Jeanette.
You want to just answer it?
Yeah, I'm just going to answer it. Jeanette wants to know which e-collar we recommend. Laura Morgan, which e-collar do we recommend?
Mainly, on most of our dogs, we recommend an e-collar Technologies 300 mini educator.
Nice guess.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. It's like 302.
Let it be 302. Let it be.
300.
So 302 would be for the double dog
double
collar.
dog.
Yeah.
And if you need something a little bit bigger for dogs that have higher prey drive, or just you need
More
longer
stubborn,
range or more stubborn, you could use a Boss
800.
e-collar Technologies 800.
I fed you that one. You got it.
Cool.
So that's what we use. That's what we recommend, guys. This has been a cool one. I'm glad we got to like fold some questions in about like business and life and some choices and things like that.
Little voice just waking up.
Oh, well, we timed it just right. Nice work, lady. So, guys, thanks for all the support with the book. Thanks for the support with everything. Thanks for being here every week. We super duper appreciate it.
We really do.
And God, we're just jamming into the
Rockin'.
118 episodes.
I believe like soon it'll be 150 and 200 and
And then
we'll be 200.
Like, that's what I was going to say. We'll be like 60 years old. So anyways, put a prong collar on him and then you can really tell him who's
You
boss.
sound like Gelman in like 10 years. Okay, 20.
I think, yeah, okay, all right. Anyways,
Or 30.
nice work, lady. All right, guys,
Bye,
we'll talk to you
guys.
soon. See you next week.
Thanks so much.